process is still being ironed out by the party, but we do have an idea of who could be in the running. Multiple MPs tell CTV News Freeland herself wants into the race. And we know former Bank of Canada Governor Mark Carney says he's going to mull it over this week with his family. Multiple cabinet ministers from Dominic LeBlanc to Mélanie Joly and François-Philippe Champagne are also thinking of running. But only one contender has officially thrown his hat into the ring. Businessman and former Montreal Liberal MP Frank Baylis is the first out of the gate to announce his bid for Liberal leadership. Hi, Mr. Baylis. Good to have you on our program. Thank you for making the time.
Thank you, Vassy, for having me.
I have a number of questions for you about the leadership, but I did want to start off on the news of the day. And in particular, the incoming president of the U.S. doubling down on this threat to make Canada the 51st state, saying that he'll use, quote unquote, economic force to make it happen. As someone who wants to run to lead the Liberal Party and ultimately the country, how should that, in your view, be responded to?
Well, I think we're going to have a very long 4 years if every time President-elect Trump sends out one of his tweets that are meant to be provocative, meant to be insulting to us. It's part of his negotiating tactics. He wants to negotiate on some border issues, and this is something that is part of his way of doing business. Look, I've been a businessman and done business with Americans for 35 plus years. I've done businesses with business to business. I've done business with hospitals, government agencies, the FDA, the Veterans Affairs and all that. And most of my dealings with the Americans have been excellent, wonderful to deal with and that. Now and then you run into a tough negotiator who thinks this type of tactics works. And what I would say to Canadians is, no big deal. Let him spout off the way he wants to. We'll negotiate if and when the time comes, and we will be Canadians and they will be Americans, and we don't need to worry about anything he's threatening there.
Do you really think, though, that there's nothing to worry about, particularly with the possible imposition of tariffs? As a business person, as you mentioned, you know, an import tax of 25% would be devastating to the federal economy, would it not be?
Any trade war would be bad for both Canada and United States. We tend to reflect on ourselves and say that's going to be really painful for ourselves. But I would like you to think about all the things that we export to the Americans, all the energy we export, the electricity from Quebec, the hydrocarbons from Alberta. And if he was to go to the American people and say, I'm jacking up your prices ever 25% across the board, that's not going to be good for them either. So again, I don't undermine or I take seriously, let me put it that way, what his threats are, and I think we should prepare for them, but I don't think we need to get ourselves too worked up about it. This is part of a negotiating tactics, and we just need to take it for what it is, know it, and then put it aside.
I want to turn to that leadership race, Mr. Baylis, in you being essentially the first person out of the gate. Why did you know immediately, or how long have you known that you wanted to enter this race?
It's something that many, many people across the country have been talking to me about literally since the day I chose not to run again, so in 2019, that they were looking for what I would say a business-oriented type of leadership for our party, and one that would look to do fiscally responsible approach to running the government, help our industries. I think my success in business is something that appeals to a lot of people, and seeing can we bring that to the federal government. And not just to run the Liberal Party, but really to help run our Canadian government, make things run smoother, make ourselves more productive. There's all kinds of wonderful opportunities. Keep in mind I'm an entrepreneur, so I see opportunities everywhere. But I see a lot of opportunities to help our country, and I'm excited to be part of this race.
And you are part of the race, just to be certain. You are part of the race because we don't know the rules yet. Or are you waiting to find those out? Yeah.
Yeah. Let me clarify that. So, barring something untoward, I will be announcing formally that I'm in the race. But I'm looking forward to it, and we'll see if there's something in the rules that I didn't expect. But barring that, yes, I'm in the race.
How soon do you think your party needs to have a new leader in order to be even somewhat competitive in the next election?
Well, obviously, we need time to get a new leader in place, and we need time to have that new leader, he or she, to be able to introduce themselves to the Canadian people, let them know who they are and what they want to achieve and that. So I think the sooner the better. But we're working on a tight time frame, but that's okay. We'll get it done.
Do you think, so let me be more specific. The opposition parties are saying when Parliament resumes at the end of March, they're going to vote to bring the government down. Is it your view that there needs to be a new leader of the party before that?
Well, I think definitely we need to have a leader in place if an election starts. That goes without saying. I think that the other parties are looking to rush this situation because they're afraid of the Liberals putting in a strong leader. And I understand that. This is politics, and they're trying to position themselves as best they can, not to have to face someone strong that quite frankly, they're afraid of.
Do you think, to be fair, that they are afraid? I mean, public opinion polling that I'm sure you're familiar with for your party, it is and has been, for lack of a better term, in the toilet for the entire year, right? You're looking at anywhere from 15 to 20 points behind the Conservatives. Do you really think in a few short months any new leader can turn that around for the Liberals, or is it just about saving the furniture?
I can't speak for other leaders. I can speak for myself, and I think that if I'm given the opportunity to contrast my background, my experience, the things that I've accomplished in my life to what Mr. Poilievre's offering, which is basically he's an excellent career politician, that's where it starts, and that's where it's also where it stops. So what he's going to be able to do to help average Canadians get good jobs, build our economy, put things in order, he doesn't bring any experience. I bring all that to the table, and I do believe that if they have the chance to see such a strong contrast, that we do have a good chance. So actually I am positive. I'm not to say that we're not sitting far behind the polls or pretend that that doesn't exist. Yes, it does. But I think given the chance that they would look very favorably on a candidacy like mine. Now, I tell people this all the time. When someone's trying to rush you to buy something, act now, buy now, whatever, it's because they're not selling you something great. And they don't want you to take the time to reflect and look at it. I'll be saying, please take your time, look at your options if I'm the leader, and I think I'll win that. I really do.
Can I ask you about some of the substance that would inform sort of how you intend to contrast yourself with the Conservatives, and maybe even more for our audience this evening, how you would contrast yourself with the government you were once a part of for 4 years, and even more specifically, Mr. Trudeau. And the first question I have for you is on probably what has become the lightning rod between the Conservatives and the Liberals, and for many Canadians, and that's the carbon tax, particularly the consumer side of it. Would you keep that in place?
First thing, you mentioned Prime Minister Trudeau, and what I'd like to do is thank him for his years of service. Whether people agreed with him or not, at times he certainly put 9 solid years of leading our country, and like I said, I think we owe him a debt of gratitude for that. So I'd like to start there. When we talk about, quote unquote, the carbon tax, what I'm going to talk to Canadians about is real solutions. So, and you'll permit me here, I'm going to be a little long, but there was a time when people could throw their garbage anywhere. And the city said, no, you can't do that. We're going to pay to have garbage collection. We're going to pay to have recycling. And we started doing that. It cost money, but we did it. There was a time when people would dump their sewage right into our waterways. And we said, we can't have that. And cities had to get sewage treatment plants. It used to be paint factories would set up beside a waterway and just dump the effluents right into there. We put a stop to all that. Today, people can dump garbage into the air. Call it what you want, they can pollute the air. And I've been to cities around the world where I've seen horrible pollution. So there's going to be a cost to cleaning that up, and people can say it should be cost this way or that way. But anybody that's selling Canadians that there's not a cost to cleaning our air is not being honest and straightforward with them. Now, what Mr. Poilievre is doing is calling this thing axe to taxes. This is going to solve the affordability issue for Canadians. It's not. It's not the problem. The problem is that we've lost our productivity, we've lost our good jobs. We need to get our Canadian dollar up. In the last week or so, we've fallen below 69 cents, 70 cents now. Imagine if we can get that back up there. So when people go to the grocery store and they have to buy a banana or an orange or an apple, well, apples are made here, grown here, but these other products that are bought in US dollars somewhere else are brought to Canada, converted to Canadian dollars, and people have to pay more. And then what happens is the politicians of the day will bring in the people that own the grocery stores and start yelling at them, but they can't change the fact that they still have to buy those bananas in US dollars and convert them to Canadian dollars. So really, to help affordability for all Canadians, we need to get... That's my expertise. That's what 35 years of being in private business has taught me, and I'm looking forward to that challenge. I believe in Canada, and I'm optimistic about our future.
Can I just pick up, because we lost your signal again for just a second. I take your point that getting rid of the carbon tax will not solve the country's affordability problems overnight. But I also know that we have heard from many Canadians who do feel that it has negatively impacted them. And there's objective public opinion polling that shows, as a policy on the consumer side of things, I'm not talking about the industrial side of things, as a policy, it is deeply unpopular. Can you be explicit? Will you keep? I'm not saying there shouldn't be a cost to polluting the air. I'm not arguing for that. I'm just asking you, would you keep that deeply unpopular policy that your party has put in place?
What I would do is sit down and have a long and honest conversation with Canadians and tell them we need to deal with this issue. There's going to be a cost. And people have pitched the carbon tax as the be-all and end-all of all our challenges. It's not true. I plan on having this discussion that's going to be straightforward and honest with Canadians. Has Pierre Poilievre done a great job of banging out his axe the tax message and getting people to believe that that will make their lives more affordable? Absolutely. Yes, he has. Is it the cause, the root cause? No, it's not. So if they want solutions, solutions will come from good jobs. They'll come from good jobs. They'll come from a well-run government that will bring our Canadian dollar up in value. That will make housing more affordable. That will make groceries more affordable. That will make life more affordable. That's what we really need to be doing. And hiding from some of our challenges is not the answer.
All right, Mr. Baylis.
I'm not afraid to have that conversation with them.
Okay, well, I have to leave this. That's okay. I have to leave this conversation there. Good luck with your candidacy, and I'm sure we'll be having some more conversations throughout the leadership race. Thanks for your time.
Thank you.